Good morning, everybody. My name is Boris, which is easier to understand than the really long part, Veldhuijzen van Zanten, which nobody knows how to pronounce. I also have four first names, so the whole name is like 7 names. So just stick to Boris. It's very simple, Boris on Twitter. So if you want to ask me anything or just follow me on Twitter, that would be cool as well. So this is my first time in Moscow. I'm very excited to be here. And it feels like a vacation for me, and when you're on a vacation you take photos, so I want to start off with a photo of you, because you're all taking photos of me, but it's nice for me to remember you when I get back to Amsterdam. And of course it would be boring if you would just sit, so I'm going to count to 3 and then I'll take a photo, and you all put your arms up and shout like it's the best event you've ever been at, alright? We're going to do that, alright. Alright, 3, 2, 1, arms in the air and shout, woo! Oh, that was a movie. No, it's fun. All right. So, I'm the founder and CEO of the Next Web. And let's see if I can get that on the screen. Yeah. And the Next Web is a big company. We have events all over the world. There's not a country in the world where they don't read the Next Web. But still, that's confusing for a lot of people. They don't really know what the company is and what it exists of. And a few weeks ago, I met the founder of Netflix, Reed Hastings, in Amsterdam. And it was great to meet him, of course, a very inspiring entrepreneur. And I was introduced to him as, this is Boris, he's the CEO of the Next Web. And then Reed Hastings said, oh, that's so cool. Do you know that there's a really big media company in the US called the Next Web? Are you affiliated? I said, well, yeah, that's my company. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were just like the Dutch part. I'm like, no, that's my company. So I felt this mix of pride and, felt insulted a little bit as well that he didn't know that it was my company. But it's really my company, which is the most amazing thing in the world to me still. So what does our company do? It's really a few things. You might know it from just thenextweb.com, where we write a lot of articles every day. We also have events in South America. We just did one in New York a few weeks ago. We have a huge conference in Amsterdam coming up with 20,000 attendees. We also have services and data products, so we build a lot of our software and services ourselves and try to monetize those. And 3 days ago, we announced that we're opening a huge space in Amsterdam, a tech hub, together with Google and Booking and a few other companies, where we'll have 6,000 square meters for startups and technology companies to meet each other and to work and have dinner. There will be a great restaurant there. So we're always expanding, and the way we look at the company is we don't really look at our general competitors for news, but we take more inspiration from Nike or Amazon. And Nike is just a brand that happens to make shoes, and that's what they're famous for, but of course they make a whole range of products, and what they really are is a strong brand. So I'm not going to talk a lot about my company, but I'll take you through a few things. And first of all, and I got to read with you. Yeah, oh, that went too fast. So 24/7 reporting, we write about 25 or 50 posts a day, sometimes 100 if it's a busy day. We got about 6 to 9 million unique visitors a month, 2.5 million followers on social media, that's Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Instagram, Snapchat, everything combined. And we're in the top 20 blogs in the world, and even higher in technology. So today I'm going to tell you about misconceptions for the future of media. As a new media company, I'm always or often invited by sort of old school media companies who've heard that internet is becoming really cool. Even today, there are a lot of misconceptions, and we've now had this company for 10 years, and we've learned a lot. So I thought I'd take you through some of the misconceptions and explain you how we look at this. Now, of course, it's the World Wide Web, which is really cool, because you can launch a website and reach everybody in the world. And we do. We reach everybody in the world. So there's not a country in the world where they don't read the Next Web, including the North and the South Pole and the Sahara. And we know this because at one point we published a map of the world with all our visitors, and it was like a movie, so you could see like time zones. And then somebody said, I can see myself. And we said, well, that's unlikely. He said, no, really, because I'm on the North Pole, and there's a dot there, like in the middle of the day, and I'm the only one here with the internet connection, and I read the next web, so I can see myself on the map. So we know, like everywhere in the world, people are reading our site. And this is the map, like the countries where they don't read us are white, but there are none left. But there's another interesting thing here. If you look at the dark blue, that's where most of our readers are. And what we see is that the English reading countries are still like the top, in the top of the graph. So North America, England, India, Singapore, so these countries are all very big on our map. And it also means that it's really cool to have like somebody in the Sahara or North Pole read your blog. But at the end of the day, you're making money only in a certain region. And that's an important distinction to make, that yes, it's a worldwide market, but the money, to give you an example, 48% of our traffic comes from North America. 75% of our revenue also comes from North America. So even though we're a very distributed company, we have employees all over the world, we have readers all over the world, still the majority of our money comes from one place. Now the reason why we don't just focus on the US and move there and just, you know, only focus on that, is because we do think that the future is worldwide. So if you look at the Middle East or Asia, e-commerce in Asia has been growing 500% a year for the past 5 years. E-commerce in the US is maybe growing 10% a year. So future growth will come from the rest of the world. But today, if you're a publisher, yes, it's a worldwide game, but most of your money will still come from one place, either locally, which is true for a lot of you, you make your money here, but it's also true for the international companies like us. It's still just one market. That's an actual person reading the next web. No, it's just talk. So the next misconception is online advertising is the future. And for years, that's something that people said. They said, you know, you can just start a blog, you put a few banners on there, and you can make a living if your audience is big enough. And that were the times when we had banners and CPM rates of $40, and you know, even Google Ads used to work for a while. You would get a few clicks and make some money. It was all very promising. But over the past few years, we've seen banner rates just decline. And it's now gone so far that just building a business based on banners is just impossible. You need to be more innovative than that. And that's what we do. So at the next web, I told you earlier we look at Amazon as an example. And I think Amazon is an interesting company because they were known for a long time as just an e-commerce. First as just the biggest bookstore in the world, they just sold books. Then they became just the biggest e-commerce company in the world. But what they really are is a technology company. So they look at every problem and find a technological solution. And that's something that we try to emulate. So we looked at these banner rates going down and we thought, all right, this is an opportunity. Clearly, banners are not interesting anymore. We have to come up with something new. And then I picked up a magazine, like a paper magazine, the Wired magazine, and I started reading it. And then I noticed that the first 7 pages of Wired magazine, like if you start from the cover, are ads. Full page ads, and then you get to the section where it says what's in the magazine, and then there's 3 more ads before the first article. And it's very normal, and actually we even like it, because the ads are beautiful, they're well produced, they're like extra content for the magazine. So I said to my developers, could we make an equivalent, so a full screen ad that really looks beautiful, is very intuitive, and if you like just move your cursor or scroll, the article comes back in view. So what we developed and launched is the canvas ad, and we call it a canvas ad because we say to advertisers, you get the whole canvas and you can give it to your artist and make something beautiful. And to make sure they make something beautiful, we give away half of the ads to artists. So we tell artists, we have millions of visitors all over the world, produce your best artwork, we'll show it to 50% of our visitors. And then when an advertiser comes up with an ugly ad, we say, you can't give us an ugly ad. Look at the beautiful artwork that we have instead. You know, it has to be just as beautiful as the artworks that we display. And that really influences the advertisers to produce something beautiful. So what we have here is, this is an artist, so you get to an article, the article slides out of view, like for 1/3 of the page, and then as soon as you scroll, the article pops back up. If you click on the artwork, you'll go to the artist's page or to the advertiser, and you can even tweet and share this ad. And the interesting thing is that we now have ads that are getting more shares than the article that we have the ad on. The other interesting thing is the click rate. So what we've seen is that if we have like a regular banner on a page, we get 0.2 click rate. That's really good. That's a banner that does well. Our Canvas ads are doing an average of 2% click rate, so 10 times as much. And it's been so successful that some advertisers had to stop the campaign because they got too many clicks and too many leads for their sales to follow up. So they said, can we pause it for a month because this is just too much success for us. We've had one ad in the beginning where we had a game, so because we can show anything on the Canvas ad, including a whole game. And the click rate was 12%. That's only one ad, but still 12% click rate is amazing, especially when the industry average is 0.2%. So the next misconception is online advertising doomed? Well, it's not really doomed. It's still very promising. So if you look at the market and how it's growing, so the tech and media industry market is going to grow 500 billion in the next 5 years. So that's from what it is right now. So that's very positive, you know, that gives us hope. And it's also, you know, we're not bored yet. We're not, it's not like we have enough information to look at. So we all know how many hours there are in a day, right? 24 hours in a day. It's actually not true. There are 31 hours and 28 minutes in every day. And the reason there are so many hours is because you all do 10 things at the same time. So in the past, if they wanted to know, like, how much time do you spend sleeping and eating and watching television and listening to radio, these were separate things. But now we do everything at the same time. So I have 2 kids, and my oldest daughter, she'll be making homework, and she's got a screen there with Google Drive. She's working on something she has to work on alone with 8 people. They're writing in it together at the same time. Then she's FaceTiming with a friend, she's WhatsApping with another friend, and she's got an iPad watching a movie or something. So she's doing like 4 things at the same time. Then when I walk up to her and I say, "What are you doing?" She says, "Nothing." So our consumption of social media, of news, is just increasing incredibly. It's increasing so much that we now spend more time, 11 hours a day, consuming media, and only 7 hours of sleep. Or if you have kids, only 5. So advertising is still very promising, but what we've noticed is that we're sort of in an in-between era. And the problem I see here is Boss-vertising. So when I talk to companies, they say, yeah, we want to advertise online, but then, you know, we can track everything. And as a marketeer, I've noticed that if I just put a regular old-fashioned ad in the newspaper that my boss reads, I get better results, like internally, than if I advertise with you. That's called Boss-vertising. Like if you put an ad in between your boss's house and your company, and your boss sees it, he's like, oh yeah, I saw the ads, you're doing a great job, right? It's not really useful, but it still works. And we're sort of stuck there. When they put an ad in a magazine, they don't really track the results. It's difficult to track. If they put an ad on a website, it's very easy to track, and then you get, you know, they look at the results, and it's harder to scale. All right, social media will mean that your audience will do your marketing for you. Yes, that's partly true. But it's also not really true. So what we've noticed is that, yes, social media is amazing, and we have a lot of followers, and we spend a lot of time on our social media efforts. But sometimes we'll see an article that has like 1,000 shares, but only 800 unique visitors, which is interesting. So that means that a lot of people are sharing this article without visiting or even reading it. And their followers on social media see the title and they're like, oh, that's interesting, and they might even retweet it and never visit the article. So social media reach does not equal visitors, and visitors does not equal revenue. So social media is important, but it's not the solution to everything. All right. Of course, the cool thing about new media is that you can engage directly with your community. We've been saying this for years. It's so awesome. You can talk to people directly. But people suck, and they hate you. And they're all trolls. And the only people who want to talk to you have something to complain about. So this is something that we've dealt with in our own way, because then other people say, well, you should never feed the trolls. Only look at the positive reactions. But that's like 1 in 20, right? So what we did is we have a different strategy. If we get a comment that's sort of negative, or this is clearly spam, my social media managers will reply to those. And will make fun of the trolls. I got a few more. So this is Ashley, and well, she also wants to make friends. Like well, that's Mary, but this is funny because she's called I Love Tattoos, but it's also Mary. So that's how we reply to that one. Mary or what the fuck text? Fuck my life admin is that. Yeah. This is actually not true. We're from Amsterdam, we just smoke weed, but yeah. Yeah. And yeah, that's another one. So this is actually a fight between two trolls, which is even better because then you can let the fighting. So somebody replied on this, and then the other person got angry again. You idiot! Fuck you and your brain. And then we say, oh, I spy a bromance here, yeah. Which makes them even more aggressive. So this turned into a thread with like 40 comments. So yeah, that's how we deal with social media. Social media is a lot of fun. We enjoy it a lot, but we think it's like a playgarden and we can do whatever we want because it doesn't really matter. All right, getting started is cheap and easy. This was the promise. Everybody can start an online business or an online, like a blog. You can start a blog in a minute. It's true, and it's gotten a lot easier. It's very cool that I'm the CEO of a worldwide media publishing company where 100 years ago, this is what I needed if I wanted to publish a newspaper, right? And of course, there was some innovation there, and at one point we got these, and then it got easier, and it went all the way to this WordPress, which is great. And I like WordPress, and we've really expanded WordPress. But first of all, starting with WordPress is very easy. But once you get over like 1 million unique visitors, WordPress starts to sort of crumble, and you need a full-time developer to optimize it so it works. And now we have millions of visitors, so we have full-time developers. Just maintaining the website and making sure it doesn't go down. And it's a losing battle because you all are better equipped publishers than I am as a professional. Because what you have is Facebook. And Facebook is so easy because this is just what you see in Facebook. You paste the URL. This is what I did. You hit return and you have a full post. Title, there's the image, it's got links, it's tagged, it's got a name. So this is becoming very interesting, where in the past it was very difficult to publish worldwide, very expensive. And then the tools became really easy for me as a publisher. But they got even easier for you as a consumer, which explains why when a plane lands in the Hudson, the first photo is from somebody on the plane who posts his photo to Instagram. That's the first published news about the airplane. So being first is not the goal anymore. So does that mean that there's too much news anymore, that there's no role for us as media publishers? Well, there is, but it's just changing. So being first doesn't matter anymore. Being the neutral source of information that just publishes the news is not what's going to make a difference for you as a publisher. What does matter is why things happen and how. And explaining, giving the analysis or your opinion. Even opinion is better than just saying what it is. If there's a new Apple gadget out and we write a story why it sucks, that's the most popular post of the day. You can go to Apple and get all the information yourself, but the opinion, do you need it? That's what we provide. And that's also harder, because just copy-pasting a press release, that's easy. Almost anybody can do that. But finding a writer who can form an opinion and analyze through the bullshit in a press release, that's a lot harder. All right, 8 out of 8. So when I started my business, I talked to some publishers and I said, I'm looking for a book, like a book on how to become a worldwide publisher or a media company. And at one point somebody said, there is no book. You're inventing the book. You gotta come up with everything yourself. And the world is changing so fast that you gotta reinvent your story every day. So there's nothing you can do to learn how it works. And these are 2 cartoons of everything that our kids won't understand when they grow up. I have kids, so I know this is all true. But this is also true for our business. So I'm very happy that we're doing so well on Facebook. But then I speak to my daughter and she's like, Facebook is for old people, right? It's Snapchat and Instagram, and WhatsApp, that's what they use. So I got to talk to my people and say, all right, we're not innovative anymore. We have to be on the Snapchat, because that's the future of publishing. I'm dyslexic, so I can't count. So we're now at 9 out of 8, which is weird. But I'll call it a bonus thing. So everybody knows, and it's the hip thing to say, that mobile is the future. And it's true. 50% of our traffic is on mobile now. But mobile is a very abused term. So this is the dotted line is just mobile phones, right? But the orange line on the right, that's smartphones. And that's really what we want, of course, the smartphones. The black line is PC sales. This is all sales of devices. So mobile clearly is the future. But it doesn't mean that you need an app, because mobile isn't just mobile. So this is a graph asking people where they use their mobile devices. And 66% says at home. So we think mobile, we're thinking like, all right, so at home you have your desktop, and then you go on the train and you use your mobile. But that's not how it works anymore. People are cooking with their smartphones and reading an article. So do you need an app? No, you don't. And the reason is that so you only use 27 apps a month, right? That's all. And 79% of your time you spend in 5 apps. And what is the most popular app you use? If you're my age, it's Facebook. If you're younger, then maybe it's Instagram or WhatsApp or Snapchat. And Facebook, all these apps have their own browser built in. So nobody uses your app specifically. They visit your media site within their, the 5 apps that they use most. So it's very important to have a mobile strategy, to have your site work, better than anything else on mobile in these in-app browsers. But your own app, that's a very difficult strategy to have, just having an app. So we don't have an app. We really optimize for mobile, but we don't have our own app. So, the conclusion. So this is one of my favorite quotes, and I show to everybody who starts working at our company. So we innovate, and we're very serious about our work, except we're not really. This is a quote by Asimov, and he told this story. He had an innovation lab. It was about this size, and there were researchers working, and he said, there's never one that calls out like, Eureka, I found something amazing. Never. He said, but what I'll see 3 or 4 of them talking together, and they're laughing. So I walk over and I say, hey, what are you doing? And they say, well, we tried this, and we were expecting this, but then this happened, and it was really funny. And he says, those are the breakthroughs in technology. And once you know that, you understand that you have to have a lot more fun at the office to be productive. So we joke around the whole day, and we build stuff, and we hack stuff together. And when I see people laughing about something, or I read that they are laughing in the channel, I say, hey, what did you build? Oh, this really cool widget. It's not really serious, but it's a cool little thing. And they said, that's important. Let's add that to the site. The cool, little, quirky things that make people laugh, because that's where the real innovation comes from. So the other thing is we can't stick around waiting for other people to invent our solutions. And we all need solutions because we're publishers, or media companies, we want to make more money. And the best way to predict the future is to invent it. So start inventing. If you're a media publisher now, you're in technology. So technology is going to make the difference between survival and becoming extinct. And that's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Boris. We have time for one question.
Ooh, it better be good. There's too much pressure. There's a question.
But the best one. Okay. Можно задавать вопрос по-русски, но только представьтесь, пожалуйста.
Меня зовут Галина Устинова. Я долгое время работаю в Independent Media, Sanoma Independent Media, которая сейчас распадается, преобразуется в новые компании. Но я могу на английском, на самом деле. Но раз начала на русском, пусть уж будет на русском. Вопрос такой. Всем издателям, я думаю, он будет интересен. Экономика проекта. Может быть, несколько цифр, доходы и так далее. Ну, что можете сказать, что является открытой информацией?
I'm not sure which numbers to share with you, but I'll tell you, like yesterday I had a talk and the people at my table said, I don't think any of the media companies in Russia are going to turn a profit this year. And I didn't say anything, but I don't think I'm going to run a profit this year. So we're not profitable, but like all the money we make, we invest in growing the company. I think it's really important to be in the top 10 publishers in the world. So that's what I'm investing my money in. Now we make about 50% of our money on advertising, not banners, but like the Canvas ads and like stories we write for advertisers. We sell channels to companies where we say, all right, we have a creativity channel, maybe you can adopt that. And then we have the events. So the events are just as important for us as online marketing or advertising. But we're also looking for new business models. So a couple of months ago, we launched something called Deals, where we sell certain products for a huge discount for only a week. And it's interesting for advertisers because a lot of advertisers come to us and they say, hey, we've got a new cool cable for the iPhone. And we're like, well, we're not going to write about that. But if you give us 100 and we can sell them for 1/5 the price, then we'll write about it because that's an interesting deal. So it's good for us because it's good content. It's good for the advertiser because they get their product on the site. And it's good for our readers because they get a good discount. And that's growing into a sort of a reasonable revenue stream as well. And I hope that we'll add more in the future, like the space we just opened. E-commerce, yeah. And e-commerce is one example, but you know, we're now opening spaces. Maybe we'll open more in the world, so that could be another like way to make money. And I think the innovation is in finding ways to make more money.
Okay, thank you very much, Boris.
Thank you.